Hello everybody, this is the Vikstrand. Part 3 comes up now. And what are we going to talk about? Oh yes, we're going to talk about... Now we're going to have a big old battle royale. Now, this is basically the same rules as applied to when we did it with a fistful of dollars. But in this case we're going to pit 4 Godzilla movies against each other, and we're going to try them in some various categories and see who is going to win the epic prize of Greatest Godzilla Movie! Well, let's meet our contestants, shall we? So here's our first one, it's called Godzilla 1954. Let's meet our second competitor. Yes, this is the Godzilla from 1998, which we have talked a bit about. Now let's take up the latest American version. This is the 2014 Godzilla version. But wait, there is one more. And this is an animated movie from 2017, which is also called Godzilla. This is an intended start of a trilogy of animated movies, and if you haven't seen it, I would definitely suggest you go and watch it. And in case also there is going to be some spoilers for all 4 movies, so I'm going to spoil a lot of plot lines and endings for all 4 movies, so you're warned. Now the rules are as follows. Every category is worth 5 points. They will be distributed to the 4 movies accordingly to how good they are. Which means that one movie can get 5 points, or all movies can get 1 point, but one will get 2. So we will have at least 1 or 2 that is definitely winning from each category. And we'll start with our first one. Round number 1. Godzilla. Now the 1954 Godzilla is of course very iconic, and despite this being the smallest of the Godzillas, it still is a pretty cool design, and it is a pretty cool effect despite the fact that it's just a guy in a suit, but it was a lot of work getting that guy into that suit, believe me. We're not even gonna talk about that chicken-legged monstrosity that they brought up for the 98 version. If you want to talk about CGI done correctly, look no further than the 2014 version, but because hot damn, Godzilla looks like a boss in this one. If we also could have seen a little bit more of Godzilla, that would have been cool too, because he is massive. You can feel the massiveness of Godzilla in this one, and I will give 1 point to 1954, and I will give 1 point to the 2014, because Godzilla from 2017 gets the 3 points. And why? Because Godzilla just is so massive in this one and so epic, and he's actually frightening. He's fucking awesome. Also, must mention the ending to that one also plays in a little bit to that, and we will get to that. Round 2, the script. This is a bit of a tough one. The script for the original Godzilla, there was no campiness in the original Godzilla. This was a very serious movie that dealt with very serious subjects. They actually made a very good point about the responsibility of science, and that ending where that scientist killed himself to be able to take his secret with him to the grave and kill Godzilla was kind of cool. I liked the one. 2014 version shares a bit of that, because we have, how serious is this movie? It can take itself serious when a giant lizard and a giant moth fights on a airport in Hawaii without it looking silly. Now, of course, if we actually would have seen the fight, it would have been fucking awesome. But now we had to see it, you know, on a small TV, you know, across the room. If I ever review the 2014, we will talk more about how awful that was. The script is interesting because it has its twists and turns, and they're similar good. And I will give the 54 version 1 point, and I will also give the 14 version 1 point. It's a pretty good script, but 2017 strikes again and delivers not only a very good script with the, you know, the entire thing about repopulating the earth, and the entirety of the movie actually function as just a big you know, planning on how to kill Godzilla. In a very scientific way, they sort of plan on how to kill Godzilla, and it's actually kind of awesome. It is an interesting story, it is a fascinating script, it has they pack in a lot in a rather short time, and it's almost untouchable. Round 3. Characters. They had some interesting characters in the 54 version, but apart from the scientists, they don't really have that many interesting characters. And don't even get me started on the 98 version. I mean, but Jean Reno doesn't make a point, and neither does Mr. Scientist. However, we have Bryan Cranston in the 2014 version. Does that help? Yes. He's actually an interesting character. He's a very... He's a character you actually could believe in. And Juliette Binoche, his wife, was also a nice character. Too bad they both had to take a dirt nap pretty early in the movie. After that, we only have all these bland and uninteresting people, like apart of course from Ken Watanabe, who delivers the classic "let them fight." And then, of course, we have 2017 version, which is packed to the roof with great characters, interesting characters, and characters with that you're not entirely sure of. Are they good guys or are they bad guys? What is their agenda? What do they really want? What are they willing to do to sacrifice themselves in order to bring Godzilla down? It will be 4 points to the 2017 version and 1 point to the 14 version. Round 4, special effects. When you look at the 1954 version, you're immediately thinking silly guy in silly suit. But in fact, it was a very, very special suit. It was one of the heaviest piece of garment an actor has ever worn on screen. When I saw the original Godzilla for the first time, I actually forgot after a while that I was watching a guy in a suit. I saw the lizard, and it was such an organic effect that helped a lot actually. The 2017 version doesn't really rely that much on special effects because it is an animated movie, but the sort of 3D effects that they're making when you know, with all these explosion goes off, they're kind of impressive as well. I will give 1 point to those movies each, and I will give 3 points to the 2014 version because despite how little Godzilla we actually got in that one, when he shows up, I almost pissed my pants when I saw him. You know, when he makes his grand appearance on Hawaii. That is one of the most awesome things I've seen in my entire life. It was such a... It was amazing. And I mean, the CGI in that entire movie is amazing. Round 5. Destruction. No Godzilla movie is complete without some good old destruction. Do we have any destruction in these movies? Yes, we do. But which one had the best destruction? Here actually comes the 98 version for being the best of the destruction. It's going to win with 2 and 1, 1 and 1. While the action sequences are kind of dumb and lame, when Godzilla rampages through New York, the destruction he creates, you know, when Chrysler building falls and he jumps through a building to eat a helicopter and stuff like that. That is cool, if a bit silly. In the 2017 version, you don't really get that much destruction because of, you know, Earth has been abandoned and it is all a big wilderness. So it's not that much destruction, but they do try. They destroy a lot. The 54 version, of course, we have some, paper buildings being ripped apart and Godzilla eats a train and stuff like that. It is kind of cool, and I love the fact that they have fenced in the entirety of Japan with this big, electrical fence, and he just tears the thing down and, uses his atomic breath and stuff like that. It's kind of cool, and so it gets 1.2. The reason why I only give 1 point to the 2014 version is the obvious one, because we never sees it. The 2014 one is one of the most frustrating movies I have seen in my entire life, because the filmmakers decided that Godzilla should never be in picture ever. People doesn't want to come to a Godzilla movie to see Godzilla. Idiots. Round 6. Music. Music is a very important thing to any kind of movie. So whoever has the best music will surely win this, right? Oh yes. And our winner is absolutely super clear. The 54 version. The original score for Godzilla it is sort of this, it is threatening and epic, and it feels sort of like Godzilla is coming towards you with these heavy drums, and it just is amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite scores and one of the most underrated scores that I've ever heard. The 2014 version tweaks a little bit and has a similar score and within more of a Hollywood version, but they also have kind of good music, and but since they're just rehashing old ideas, they will only get 1 point, and the 54 version will get 4 points. If you want to talk about Puff Daddy's musical violations of Led Zeppelin, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it anymore. It is awful. And the 17 version is kind of forgettable. Round 7. Other monsters. Most Godzilla movies that has been made features at least one more monster for Godzilla to fight. It can be a three-headed dragon, or a gigantic larva, or some weird stuff. The first Godzilla movie, however, had only Godzilla in it. That was the only monster that we had to care about. Now, the 1998 version actually had, the baby Godzilla who was running around and munching on the French dudes, and although this is a pure rip-off from Jurassic Park, they qualify as other monsters and therefore will be included in this list, and they will get a point for it. And why not? The 17 version has some weird, dragon-like creatures that are sort of kind of small, like a flying, these flying dinosaurs they have in Jurassic Park. They are kind of cool too, so they get 1 point for that one. It is of course the 14 version that is our winner in this category, since they have Mothra and that other monster that Godzilla totally went to town with by breathing his atomic breath down his throat, which is fucking awesome. Round 8. The end. On the one hand, I like the idea that the 98 version has the surviving egg, and Godzilla Jr. is busting out of that, but not flipping the camera over this time. But then I remember that Godzilla was taken out on a bridge to Brooklyn with 4 missiles, which is dumb. So no points for that one. The 54 version has the very long, boring sequence in which Godzilla, swims around in the ocean, and then they use the oxygen destructor, and the entire and Godzilla is turned into a very huge skeleton at the bottom of the sea, and they talk about how with all these nuclear tests, other Godzillas may show up on other places, you know, hinting at the many sequels that has come out since then. And I always liked this ending, but this one also gets 0 points. Now, when it comes to the 2014 version, that movie sort of kind of ends. Godzilla just returns to the sea after, you know, having been the very unlikely hero that probably murdered about 1 million people or two before, you know, killing those monsters. And the final confrontations in which Godzilla just bashes the shit out of the monsters was awesome, although it was very dumb shot, but which brings the whole thing down and cheapens the experience. But it was kind of epic. I will give it 1 point, because 4 points goes to the 17 version, because holy shit! Now, they actually kill Godzilla. You know, they have this epic battle where they're flying around, you know, trying to nail Godzilla with this super weapon that they have devised, and you know, the plan works and Godzilla flat out dies. And they're celebrating, yay! We killed Godzilla! We killed Godzilla! Premature celebration, yay! Because it turns out they killed Godzilla, the child, and now mommy is very angry. And then Godzilla rises up, and he is so humongously big that you're thinking, oh my god, he's awesome! When I saw this, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It is so over the top and it is so silly, but you just gotta love how they handled that one. They handled it like a boss. So that was part 3. As you can see, we have a pretty clear winner, I would say. Join me next time for part 4. What's going to happen then? Well, you're just gonna have to stay tuned to find out. The Vikstrand is signing out.